The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Very interesting remarks were made by an Aaron Glenn disciple. We'll talk about what was said and some of the new information that we learned about Coach AG. That and much more. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
Man, our Jets are primed to win another offseason, baby. We bleed Jets green each and every day. Will the playoff drought finally end? Kings of the offseason, baby. This is what we do. At least we have Garrett Wilson. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinn Williams. Prepare to be underdogs. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, here on a Wednesday. I hope everyone is staying cool if you're on the Northeast. This heat wave is brutal. I hope it's okay with you guys, but the LED lights I have in my home studios here, you see, I'm turning them off today. It is just too hot. All right, so hopefully you guys can forgive me for not being as well lit as normal, because my God, is it just brutal. Hope everyone is hydrating and appreciate you all, of course, tuned into the show. Quick PSA, if you are trying to find out information about Tampa Bay, our Asmaniac Tampa takeover, information about our group buy for the Jets-Panthers game on October 19th at MetLife, I made a Patreon post that is pinned to the dashboard that has all the information in one place, and it includes the discount code for the merch store. You get 20% off on every item when you're a Patreon member year-round. And, of course, it also includes the link you need to join our private Discord. So check that out. And as always, thank you to everyone who supports us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/Jake Asman Show, and I promise you will not regret it. With that said, let's talk some Jets here on this Wednesday. Some interesting comments were made by Todd Haley, actually a friend of my radio show. So Todd Haley, now former NFL head coach, former Jet coach, oh, by the way, was on some of those Parcells staffs. His father, Dick, was in the Jets front office for many years. So Todd Haley has Jets ties. He was with Bill Parcells when Parcells took over the Jets as a very young coach. So he's kind of been around the Aaron Glenn universe. He was in Dallas when Aaron Glenn was there with Bill Parcells at the end of his playing career. So Todd Haley and Aaron Glenn have a very close relationship. Haley, of course, former NFL head coach, offensive coordinator, so on and so forth. Haley was a guest on a very popular NFL podcast yesterday. And I want to play you guys the clip because he told Kevin Clark on the This Is Football podcast an Aaron Glenn story that I haven't heard before. But first, the first question and answer I want to play for you guys is Haley being asked on what we as Jet fans, that's us, should expect from AG being our new head coach.
Explain to me, having known Aaron Glenn since the Parcells era in New York, what they should expect.
Well, I'd be excited. Number one, I was there. I was actually a scout when Aaron was drafted, and Aaron came to me way back then because I could throw the football, and I'd be working with the coaches, during off-season time, and he said, I want to be able to catch better. So he and I worked together all the time. Then I ultimately became a coach. I wasn't coaching his side of the football, but got to know him a lot. And then we both end up back with Coach Parcells in Dallas again. So,
right.
He's been taught both as a player and a coach by some of the best there are. I mean, whether it's Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, Sean Payton, Dan Campbell, who we all were, they were teammates together in Dallas. So we were all there. But, he's been coached on both sides of it, as a player, as a coach, how, no different than I'm sure he got advice from Coach Parcells when he wanted to get into the, when his playing career ended. And I would guarantee it, Bill said, listen, start at the bottom, show you want to be there, show you're not just doing this because it's fun and it'll be easy. You got to prove that you want this. And, and that's what he did, starting out in the front office, scouting, some of the similar things that I did. But I just think he's been around the right people. I was blessed to be around Coach Parcells, still have him as a friend, as a mentor, Dan Henning, Belichick, Romeo Crennel, all those guys, at a very early stage in my career. And I learned from the best, really. I saw how it's supposed to look, how it's supposed to feel. I was there in New York when Bill came in after Rich Kotite, and it was not pleasant by any means. Throw in there you're a young coach just trying to prove that you can survive. But Aaron Glenn was there. He saw how Coach Parcells transformed a losing group into a winning group. So, Aaron gets all that.
Look, what we know about Glenn, and I think it's one of the most attractive qualities of the hire when the Jets made it, is the fact that he has seen what it is not supposed to look like, and he has seen what it is supposed to look like as both a player and a coach. And you heard Haley discussing what we know as Jet fans, right? Aaron Glenn gets drafted, and over the course of his first 3 seasons in the NFL, he won a total of, 9 games? I mean, they didn't win a lot with Kotite, that we know. And then Parcells obviously takes over after that. They go from a team with the worst record in the sport to a team that had a winning season and nearly made the playoffs. And then obviously a year later, we all know about the AFC Championship game season, 12-4. Glenn referencing losing that AFC title game in his opening press conference, which fired up the long-suffering Jet fan. So that's from the player perspective. But then as a coach, he saw what it's supposed to look like when you're doing it the right way. When they took over the Lions, it wasn't just him. Obviously, Brad Holmes, the general manager, Dan Campbell, the head coach. But they turned it around. So he saw what it's supposed to look like when you're coaching it as well, and how you got to do things a certain way to get that turnaround. So I think that's an attractive aspect of Aaron Glenn. And the other big thing that I do think matters when you're in New York, can you handle it? Certain coaches can handle being an actual head coach. Maybe it's the other stuff that gets them. Relationship with the media, pressure from the fans, all the different responsibilities. Like if you're a head coach, you're great at the X's and O's, or you wouldn't be in that spot, but there's so much more to the job. Robert Saleh was a phenomenal defensive mind. You can't dispute that. The Jets had success on defense. We saw development on that side of the ball. It was everything else that ultimately wasn't good enough and why he's no longer the head coach. We've seen coordinators be awful head coaches, but they're really good coordinators. It's a completely different job. But what I like about Glenn is that he's been preparing to be a head coach for a long time. He started in scouting, as you heard Haley reference. He worked his way up the ladder as an assistant coach, and then a full-time positional coach, and then obviously a coordinator. And we've heard him reference how Dan Campbell let him do a lot of things that a head coach would do to get him ready for the opportunity. And Glenn has always referenced that. Plan practice, address the team. Basically, Campbell was trying to help Aaron Glenn become a head coach at some point. And give credit to Dan Campbell for that. But what I didn't know about Aaron Glenn was the secret meetings that he apparently would have with Todd Haley. Now, we know Glenn's a defensive guy, but he has said multiple times he's not a defensive guy or an offensive guy. He's a coach. That he could coach the offensive side of the ball just as well as he can coach the defensive side of the ball. And that all sounds great, right? Robert Saleh said he was going to focus more on the offense. We've heard coaches say that. But actions speak louder than words. But I think Glenn is actually maybe the only guy that is a defensive coach that maybe I believe could actually have a real voice on the offensive side. Like Adam Gase didn't even address the defense. Robert Saleh knew nothing about offense. Let's be real. Rex Ryan, we love him. His only way of playing offense is ground and pound, baby. I mean, they gave Mark Sanchez red light, green light, 1, 2, 3 signs, whether or not he could take chances his rookie year. Remember that? Red light, green light, the signs. I mean, that was, elementary stuff we got from Rex. And then eventually, ground and pound and all that. Like, the Jets have not had a true CEO coach since Parcells, who's Glenn's guy. Parcells, who was mentored Aaron Glenn. So I thought this story here from Todd Haley on the same podcast was very fascinating.
He called me in the offseason when he was just a secondary coach with the Saints, and we'd do Zoom calls. And it was, you saw, like I was talking about with Nick Sirianni, the want to, the desire, for a guy to call me and say, hey, will you spend a couple hours on Zoom and just talk to me about offense and what you guys think? You knew this guy was up and coming, and he was going to have a chance. And I think my father always said, just don't worry about climbing. Don't worry about the next job. Just worry about doing the job you have really well, and good things will happen. And I think Aaron's an example of that. Now he's in the big spot as a head coach, but I think he's going to be fine. I mean, will there be growing pains? Absolutely. There always are, but he's a fast learner. He's going to figure it out. You can already see what's happening in New York. He's made it his team, and that's the key, having everybody understand you're going to put everybody in the best position to succeed. And I don't think it's going to happen overnight, when you're turning the Titanic around, but I think he's going to get it done.
Couple things. I love that story. Love that once again, it's another example of Glenn years ago doing what he thought he needed to do to be as well-rounded of a coach as possible so he could eventually be not just a head coach. You could become a head coach if you're just a dominant coordinator on your side of the ball. If you're going to be a successful head coach, you have to be able to coach the whole team. You have to be able to have your input on both sides of the ball and special teams. And that's been lacking from a Jet coach for a very, very long time. And we've heard Glenn apparently still maintaining a relationship with Al Groh, where he would spend time in the offseason going over the offensive side of the ball with Al Groh. Now we're hearing that about Haley. I'm sure Glenn has done this with other people that he considers mentors in the profession. I like that. I think that is really encouraging if you're a Jet fan, that this coach gets it, that he understands it can't just be about, mantras, all gas, no break, or ground and pound. And that's the philosophy, and that just trickles over to the side of the ball you're not an expert on. You got to understand that side of the ball. So I like that nugget there. I think that's interesting. Now, as far as the last point, if the Jets are the Titanic, it doesn't matter what Aaron Glenn's going to do. He's not turning that ship around. All right. That ship is sinking no matter what. Let's hope the Jets are not the Titanic. We've been the Titanic. Hopefully, we're not, the submersible that blew up a couple of years ago either. Good. I wouldn't even call it good. It was okay documentary on Netflix I recently watched about that. But if the Jets are the Titanic, I mean, there's no hope no matter who you bring in. All right, that ship was going down no matter what. You can't turn that baby around. No chance. So let's hope they're not the Titanic. And while we're on the topic of the Titanic, let me say this. If you take away anything from this show today, it's this. Rose was a murderer. She was a bad person. There was room on that door in the Atlantic Ocean for both her and Jack. And she instead was selfish, hogged the entire thing, and allowed her supposed love of her life that she just met 5 days earlier to drown in the middle of the ocean. She is a murderer. All right, so if we're going to do Titanic talk, let's be clear about the fact that Rose is an absolute murderer. Also, she's a terrible person. We find out in the movie, which of course is a true story, 84 years later, right, that she's still thinking about Jack. She's had a family. She's had children. She's had grandchildren. And she's thinking about some homeless guy she met on a cruise ship. Are you kidding me? She knew him for 5 days and murdered him. And she's thinking about him? Not to mention the fact she has kids. She has grandchildren. And she has that expensive diamond necklace that's worth, I forget how much it was worth at the time. hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions. Who knows? And she just throws it in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean at the end of the movie? That could have paid for college for her grandkids. All right, that could have been a down payment on a home for someone. That could have been invested into something. And she just throws away that diamond necklace in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Ridiculous. So a couple points. One, good stuff from Todd Haley. Two, if the Jets of the Titanic were screwed, doesn't matter who the coach is. That baby's going to sink. And three, Rose Dawson was a murderer. Point blank. Could have moved her ass over on that door. Instead, she didn't. Enough said. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about a first-of-its-kind giveaway we're going to do today on the show. We've been doing daily raffles, but what I want to do is try something brand new. We're going to do a day-long raffle, which means every gifted membership goes towards, at the end of my second show today, one gigantic raffle prize. And that prize is what you're going to see on the screen right here. It is a signed Joe Klecko and Marty Lyons New York Sack Exchange photo. Now, the photo is 16 by 20, so the image on the screen doesn't do it justice. So what I have right here is the photo that you're going to get a chance to win for the Man Cave. This thing is awesome. It will look great in a frame in the Man Cave. We've been talking a lot about Klecko and the Sack Exchange on the show of late. So Klecko and Lyons signed New York Sack Exchange 16 by 20 photo. If you win, I send it to you. But the only way to win is to be entered in the daily raffle, which will be at the end of my second show. So you have two shows to find a way to win. This show and my second show today at 4 p.m. Eastern time with Jeff Parles. So if you gift the membership, you have a chance to win the Sack Exchange signed and authenticated photo. And let's get it started with a bang. Frank P. is in the raffle for 20. He gifted 20 channel memberships. Wow.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
You see that, folks? Klecko and Lyons getting the people going. And you know what? It's raining channel memberships. I wish it would rain in New York right now because I'm dying. So let me pull out my Gustbuster umbrella for Frank. Here we go. 20 memberships to read. Frank, you're the man. Thank you for supporting the show the way you do. Frank is in our daily raffle for 20. Troy Sturgis, Mr. Flowers, Macon NYJ, Brian Farrow, Kristen Bainbridge, Corey V. Dubs, Greg, Hennessy Heisman, Uno Jets, King Izzy, Shane Daniels, DM95, Christian Thompson, Over the Top, Kikuchi, Jet Life, Remy, Mark Diss, NYJ Dave, Big Will, all receiving memberships there from the great Frank P. But oh wait, we're not done rating memberships because look what I just saw. Our guy Bo C is in the house. He's dropping a 10 spot of channel memberships for the people. Ladies and gentlemen, Bo knows.
Bo knows football. Bo knows baseball. Bo knows tennis. Bo knows basketball too.
Bo knows channel memberships.
You bet your ass he does. It's raining again, people. 10 raffle tickets for Bo, EJ, Sean, Darnell Towns, Keith Kirkwood, Dr. V-Man, Jack Monorino, Flight Boss, York Pinnock, Duhan, Kikuka Lake Jet Fan, all receiving channel memberships there from Bo C. Bo, thank you, as always, for your support. We'll do the daily raffle for the Sack Exchange photo if you're tuning in late at the end of my second show today with Jeff Parles making his triumphant return. Also, if you don't win, you're automatically still entered for every membership you gift in our weekly prizes, which this week features a signed Aaron Glenn jersey, throwback jersey, signed Justin Fields jersey, and a signed Sauce Gardner jersey. With that, let's open it up to your calls on our Gustbuster hotline and your super chats as well. Julian enters the raffle for 2 with this $10 super chat. He says, how do you feel about Tight End University? What value do you think it brings on top of the new coaching? To be honest, Julian, I have no strong thoughts one way or another. I don't think it's a bad thing for Jets tight ends to be around some of the best tight ends in the league and maybe pick up on some things. But, I mean, Rucker's been at it the last couple of years. It hasn't translated. Conklin's been at it every year since it started. He was an okay Jet tight end. He's not awful. He was kind of just a guy, right? He was a jag, just a guy out there. You know, I think it's cool Mason Taylor's there, right? Absorb as much info as you can as a young player. but because Zach Kuntz is there too, we're going to think that he's going to be great because he's hanging around, George Kittle and Travis Kelce. Probably not. So I don't think it really brings much. But I did hear that Taylor Swift apparently did a surprise performance in Nashville last night because she's in town with Travis for tight end U. So there you go. David with a $10 super chat. Jake, a specific reason for optimism with AG as the Jet head coach related to what you expressed is that he handled a lot of heat from the media and fans when the Lions started 1-6 in 2022 after a 3-13-1 season. It's a great point, David, and you're right. He's obviously dealt with a lot of adversity as both a player and coach. You saw it firsthand as a Lions fan, so hopefully that translates. The good news for the Jets is that the roster that Glenn is taking over is a lot better than that roster that the Lions had that first year AG was the coordinator under Campbell. The 2021 Lions roster is not nearly as talented as the 2025 Jets roster. And the Jets have flaws, no doubt. They have some question marks. But the Lions turnaround really started with what they did in that 2022 draft. Right? Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown in the same draft class. That's when it really started to turn. The Jets, I think, have a lot more talent, but do they have the quarterback? Because Goff has proven to be, at worst, top 12 quarterback in the league. Top 10. We'll see what he is without Ben Johnson now and maybe Tanner Engstrand. But, that's really the key. You got to have the quarterback. Ladies and gentlemen, how about this from Frank P? Jake, if I win, please give it to Brother Stack. How about that? Love that, Frank.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Frank P in the raffle for 10 more. He wants his memberships to go to Stack. I also want to highlight some awesome generosity by our amazing community. The big fella sent me some money on the side to purchase Stack a Justin Fields jersey. And the great Purple Belt Mike, who yesterday won the signed Anthony Beck jersey, wanted me to send it to Stack as well. So, Stack, we love your support, man. Thank you for all your service, of course. And I'm glad that our listeners want to hook you up with some swag before the Jets season here. So, shout out to the big fella on PBM. Incredible gestures. And, of course, what Frank P just did speaks for itself. So, Frank, you now have, if I'm doing my math correctly, 30 raffle tickets in our daily raffle, which will be for the signed sack exchange photo that we'll give out at the end of my second show today. So keep that in mind for those of you tuning in late. Comments, questions, super chats, to your calls we go. First up today on the Gustbuster Umbrella Hotline is...
It's time for another V-Man call. Hopefully he no sleeping. Adios mio.
Hey, Jake, what's up?
Hello, V-Man.
Yeah, I was listening to you talk about that Titanic. It's actually based on the door thing is based on a real story.
Well, the whole thing is a true story.
Well, no, the door thing, that part with the door, I know it's a fictionalized telling of the Titanic, but the door thing, it wasn't a door, it was paneling, and it was two guys, and they climbed on top of it, but the thing is, the second guy just died from exposure, from frostbite. Died just because he was died from just being in the cold for too long.
Well, I think Rose is a murderer, so nothing you're telling me changes my opinion.
What I'm saying is, yes, two people could have actually. Yes, it's true that two people stood on a piece of paneling sat on a piece of paneling roughly the size of the door when the Titanic sank. The second guy just was older, weaker, and he just eventually succumbed to the cold and dropped dead and fell off before the other guy was picked up by a lifeboat. And that's what actually happened. That's where they got the idea for the door in the movie.
V-Man, you are someone that we know we could trust when it comes to world history. So I'll take your word for it.
I used to read on shipwrecks when I was younger, and actually have the book a massive book on the Titanic.
Are you a big shipwreck guy?
I was when I was younger, not so much. I don't keep up with it these days, but just I wanted to mention that, and to go on this with the, I love hearing it from these ex-coaches and how they talk so fondly of Aaron Glenn. It makes you feel better. It makes you feel confident. it gives you a sense of confidence, and the fact that he's talked with, keeps in touch with a lot of these former coaches that he's been around during his football life. It tells you that he's, a man that's, taking the time to meticulously prepare himself for this moment. Well, whether or not it pans out, we'll have to wait and see. But that's the type of stuff you want to see from your coach, someone who they're not just, like you said, not just the guy who just had a good defense, but the guy who spent the time to understand what it truly means to be an NFL head coach.
We can only hope. The signs are positive. It still does come down to big picture. Can they get a franchise quarterback? Because nothing is sustainable as far as like winning year over year. Without that, you can maybe have a good year. You can go 9-8 with a Justin Fields like player, but eventually when they take their swing at quarterback, if it ends up not being Fields their long-term guy, they got to get that right. And then if you got the coaching around that guy correct, then you can actually be a consistent winning team like the Ravens, right? They were really good with Flacco. Then he kind of fell off. They moved on to Lamar, and they continue their dominance because they hit on the quarterback, but we already knew they had a really good coach. Like it's a two-step process. Hopefully we find out a lot about Glenn this year. We'll see on Fields, and then we go from there.
I agree. We got to see what Fields is, Let's, cross, knock on wood, hope that, we're the third team, to, hit it big with former high draft quarterback.
Now, let me ask you something, V, man. How are you dealing with this heat wave here? How are you holding up?
Well, like I said, I'm in the basement most of the time, so all the cold air of the house just makes its way down to the basement, so it's not a big deal.
So you feel good. You feel like your body temperature is just where it needs to be.
Yeah, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy enough to go outside in this heat. I say this. I congratulate anybody yesterday in the city who was outside yesterday during primary day. So I congratulate you for weathering the storm, weathering that intense heat to make your voice heard. So I congratulate that.
When was the last time you stepped outside?
Like this morning to walk my dogs, of course.
Oh, you walk the dogs a little bit?
No, of course. Like what do you want?
I'm just asking.
Of course, I walk the dogs.
I'm trying to find out some information.
Yeah. Wait, Linus, you want to come here? Yeah, I haven't been on camera for a while, so.
There's Linus. How old is Linus now?
It's roughly like 4. He's roughly about 4 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. No, Lucy's just like camera shy. She's very hesitant. Linus is a bit more open.
Well, I'll tell you what, V-Man. It's good to hear from you. Keep calling into the show. I'm glad you were awake. We'll talk to you soon.
Right, say bye, Linus.
That's the end of that V-Man call. Now he can go back to sleeping.
What a call from Vincent. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button if you haven't. Shout out to the 187 of you guys watching live right now. More of your calls right now. Let's say hello to one of our favorites. The great Kyle Clifton is next.
I have a son that up till a few years ago was obsessed with the Titanic.
What changed?
I don't know if he still is. He hasn't talked about it in a little bit. He might still have some interest in it. I'm wondering if that documentary is suitable for a 10-year-old or if it's a little gory.
It's not that gory. Yeah, it's just kind of boring. Like they don't have footage of the actual implosion, so it's just kind of boring. It's just them talking about it.
Yeah, we went to some sort of exposition they had on it on like 14th Street in the city in the West Side. they had all this stuff that was recovered from the boat and photos and stuff, and we spent the day there. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I've always been interested in it as well. I just wanted to be on the record that I agree with those who have long said Rose is a murderer. I think she is.
Well, here's the other problem. Like, how are you not sticking with Billy Zane? The guy had a sick head of hair back then, right? Like, as we know from the male model Hansel, your friend Billy Zane is a cool dude. So, like, why would you not stick with Billy Zane? Like, I don't get it.
Maybe a bit of a jerk.
He might be a bit of a jerk, but I mean, obviously you're interested in material things. You still got that thing around your neck all these years later.
Yeah, just for her to chuck it in the ocean. I mean, what a joke.
Yeah, I don't get it. So, like, I'm heartened by these comments that Haley had about Glenn. It seems like a guy that's been in the league and been in pro football for a long time thinks highly of him and the process that he's implementing here with the Jets. I get the feeling that he's just burnt out. Like, he doesn't. He might be done with the league for good, and that's why he didn't join. Maybe if they'd come in with a bigger role or a little bit earlier in the process, he would have felt differently about it. But I was still holding out hope that he would be like a tight ends coach or an offensive quality assistant, like even in the last stages of the hiring there. But to hear that he's got positive stuff to say about Glenn, and he's not the only one who's had these things to say. I don't remember anyone bad mouthing Saleh either. But I mean, how many years did we have of Saleh? Was it 4? Like, by the end,
22, 23, 24. Yep, 4 seasons.
I by the end, I think we were all done. Like, you can't go into every year saying, well, look at the talent on this team, and then not eventually get the results.
And look, he shouldn't have been fired at 2 and 3 in hindsight. But the issue Saleh had was the things that we were saying, hey, if he gets better quarterback play and the roster's better, they'll go away. The same problem still persisted, right? Plenty of time to prepare for week 1. And they got boat raced, right? They came out flat against Tennessee and got lucky that they were playing a bad football team. Okay, they had this great performance against New England, fine, whatever, outlier, playing another bad team, it turns out. And then it's like, okay, you're 2-1, like, now get better and build on it like good teams are supposed to. And then they no-show the Denver game, down 17-0. And so, like, he shouldn't have been fired at 2 and 3. And obviously, in hindsight, made it a lot worse. But they weren't going to go anywhere with him as their head coach. That became abundantly clear. Nothing changed despite him having a quarterback and him having way more talent that we all agreed upon was the best talent we've seen a Jet roster have in a decade.
I mean, besides the Chiefs and the Eagles, like, it's hard to recall them getting up for big games, especially after like breaks and stuff. Like,
yep.
So, like, I'm willing to embrace the Glenn era. And hopefully Fields will give us some clarity about either our primary quarterback or whether he's our backup for the foreseeable future. I appreciate your time, Jake.
Kyle, appreciate you. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. We're presented today by Huga House. The New York Yankees need to get their you-know-what figured out. Good thing they got the ace going today, Max Fried. Max Fried, he's a Huga House man. So if you want to pitch like Max Fried, get a Huga House hat. I can't promise that you'll sign a $180 million contract, but I can promise that you'll look good. So check it out, HugaHouse.com. Promo code ASMAN at checkout for 20% off. I recommend the performance line hats. They come in different colors. Great to wear if you're out in the sun, if you're working out. Check it out, Huga House. Use the promo code ASMAN, and you will save 20%. Comments, questions, super chats. Let's get to more of your calls right now. Gusbuster Hotline is where we continue to head, where Dominic is standing by. Hello, Dominic.
What's up, Jake? How you doing, man?
What's up, dude?
Good. Good. It's hot here in Pittsburgh. It's like, I think it's like mid-90s right now, so I'm feeling it too down here a little bit, but can't complain too much. I do think, I know this has been an ongoing topic for the past couple episodes, but the Mount Rushmore, the Jets Mount Rushmore thing, I wanted to add a little more perspective on it and what each president symbolized necessarily. And maybe that kind of gives a better litmus test on who to put on there, maybe. George Washington represented the birth of the United States. Thomas Jefferson symbolizes the expansion, while Teddy Roosevelt represents the development. Abraham Lincoln symbolizes the preservation. So obviously Lameth is on there. I think he would probably fit either the Thomas Jefferson role. I'd say the Abraham Lincoln role is preserving because of the legacy of the Jets. Maynard could do the Washington, I think, because like he was a Titan originally, so maybe that. When it comes to expansion, though, I'm not sure. Like, I guess, would you put Klecko on there? Because it's like he kind of defined a defensive side of the Jets more so than what we were used to with the offense. And then the development, I don't know. I would put Curtis there, I guess, too, because it was such a hot period in the 90s. But it's kind of my take on some of that.
I like it. That's a good breakdown. I did not realize the significance of why they went with each president there. I like that.
Yeah. So, because I wrote a wrestling article and based it off of all that stuff, and it was on my own personal fandom of my personal wrestling Mount Rushmore. So I didn't do it like for all of pro wrestling. I just did it for my own personal taste and what each wrestler meant to me, like becoming a fan, so to speak. So I kind of, when this topic came up, I was like, I wonder if they looked at the presidents and took, but yeah, I thought that might be a different element to kind of consider a little bit. So, but yeah, that's all I wanted to really call in about. I think what Todd Haley had to say about Aaron Glenn was awesome. It really, got expectations more optimistic, I think, for it. And I'm, what Glenn has been doing so far. Obviously, I was a fan during the late 90s, so I'm a fan of him. So want to see him do well. And this kind of backed that up a little bit more. So, but yeah, good stuff, Jake. That's all I wanted to say was it.
Dominic, great call, man. You got to call more. You always have good points.
I know. Thanks. Hey, yeah, I do definitely got to. I'm always tuning in. So
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining the Patreon too, by the way.
What was that?
Thanks for joining the Patreon as well.
Yeah. It's cool to get in the Discord and all that stuff. I love everybody chatting it up in there. So it's always cool. I feel more attuned to the Jets offseason than I ever have been at this juncture. So I appreciate all that stuff.
I appreciate it, Dominic. Great call, man. Call back anytime. He earned a raffle ticket. Reminder, now till training camp, with things being a little slow, a little listener appreciation if you call into the show, because the callers drive this show. Otherwise, it would just be me talking for 10 minutes or me and a guest for 30 minutes, and we'd call it a day. Callers drive the show. They're the fabric of what we do. The callers in the chat, you call into the show, you get yourself a raffle ticket that applies for any daily raffle or our weekly raffle. Once again, if you tuned in late, I think this is pretty sick. We're giving away a signed 16x20 New York Sack Exchange photo that is signed by Joe Klecko and Marty Lyons. So 2 of the 4 Sack Exchange members. The photo on the screen does not do it justice. It is pretty big. I didn't realize how big 16x20 was, but makes sense why it was pretty expensive. But I think it's going to be worth it. We're going to do this daily raffle at the end of the second show. So any memberships or super chats that qualify for this show and the second show will go into a joint raffle. We'll spin the wheel, and one lucky listener will get that signed Sack Exchange photo. Going to try and do a lot of giveaways on the show over the next couple of weeks, because once again, I'm telling you, if you're a Jet fan watching content in June, you're not just a Jet fan, you're a diehard Jet fan. Like this guy who's calling us from Israel. Jason in Jerusalem's next. What's up, Jason?
Hey, as Jet fans, we're used to giveaways.
That's right.
I mean, what do you talk about in June other than a movie that came out in 1997 about an event in 1912?
Well, you know what? When I hear someone compare the Jets to the Titanic, that's going to fire me up on this fine June day.
I mean, Haley, I'm not surprised that guy's burnt out. If that's the reason. What was it? How he went down in Cleveland at the end during that whole Hugh Jackson era. I mean, that was pathetic and a disgrace to sports. How Hugh Jackson was able to be a head coach, remain head coach, and it was as a Jet fan, it was nice to know that there was an organization more inept than us for a good period of time.
Yeah,
and still is, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Browns have been better than the Jets though of late. I mean, they've won playoff games, multiple playoff games.
Right. The one thing, I love the Haley comments. The one thing that I really like about Glenn is very often you have some coaches that are disciplinarians. We'll call them like the stick guys. And you have other guys who are player coaches who are like the carrot guys. In the same way with an animal, you could get it to do what you want by giving it a carrot or hitting it with a stick. Glenn seems to have a combination of both to him, which is needed. And we didn't really have that for a long period of time. And we had Mangini, who was stick. We had Herm, who was very much a player's guy. I mean, unfortunately, he didn't know how to use a clock and became too chicken at the end, which Glenn, being in the Dan Campbell, doing a fake punt on a 4th and 9 from your own 12, I'm not worried about that. And, I mean, Gase, who knows what he was. And Saleh just didn't know how to discipline. I mean, the constant lack of preparation and stupid penalties and the justification of it, it was tiring as a Jets fan. And hopefully Glenn puts a stop to it, even if he looks a bit like Saleh in terms of being a defensive guy.
Yeah, I think the difference is, like, Glenn's area of expertise, it's obviously the defense, and that's fine. But it's like, do we feel like he has control over the whole team? And I think a great example of that is, like, Mike Vrabel, I think, is a defensive guy, but I didn't view him as a defensive guy when I watched him. I saw a football coach. I saw a guy that had complete control, a guy who knew the X's and O's. He knew the rules. He outsmarted Belichick in a primetime game, manipulating the clock because he knew the rules better than the Patriots a couple years ago, whenever that was, right? So, like, that's the stuff I want to see. I think those are the best coaches. Like, John Harbaugh was a special teams coach, but I feel like he has complete control of the game. Mike Tomlin, same thing. He's a defensive guy, but Mike Tomlin has control over the football team. Like, that's the type of coach we hope we hired here.
But and bringing up Baltimore's had sustained success simply because of their scouting and their front office. They've gone through 2 head coaches, countless OCs, countless DCs, and they've just been a powerhouse.
Well, they haven't
for
gone
over
through
a
head
decade.
coaches.
Billick won a Super Bowl, and Harbaugh won a Super Bowl.
But think about it. Harbaugh's been there since 2008 already. Like, he's been there. He's him and Tomlin are the 2 longest tenured coaches in the NFL right now.
And how long was Billick beforehand? I'm trying to remember. Did they have somebody in between Billick and Harbaugh, or was it from Billick to Harbaugh?
I think it went Billick to Harbaugh.
And the reason you could do that is with scouting and things like that.
And you got to be a good coach too. Like, scouting obviously is important. You got to have good players, but yeah, the coaching matter. Yeah, they went Billick to Harbaugh. I mean, that's an amazing transition there.
Absolutely. And hopefully, Glenn could do that and keep on churning through. Side question, because you mentioned, Goff losing Engstrom and who's the other guy who went to Chicago?
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson. Who do you think has the tougher time responding now? Detroit or Tampa losing their OC?
Well, Tampa's been through it now, second straight year, right? Because Dave Canales was their OC. He left to be the Panthers head coach. Now Liam Cohen leaves to go and be the Jaguars head coach. I mean, a third OC in 3 years for Baker, that's tough. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm going to say Tampa because I think Detroit has the better roster overall than the Bucs.
Who would think that people will be poaching the OCs from Todd Bowles?
It's pretty amazing. But you know what? But that's what goes against Todd Bowles. He's a defensive guy. So if he does have offensive success, you're going to get your OCs poached. That's why it's so important for Glenn to actually be able to, like, coach the whole team. And even if he doesn't necessarily know everything he needs to know about offense, he needs to understand which coaches do that he could hire, right? Like, that's why like Saleh was a great defensive guy. If he got his OC's pick correct, maybe things would have been different, right? I mean, LaFleur, he kind of got screwed over a little bit, and Hackett was a Rodgers thing, but ultimately, like, because Saleh's not an offensive guy, they were screwed, and they had to basically, bend over backwards to get Rodgers here because they missed on Zach Wilson. So you got to have a coach that, if they're not an expert on that particular side of the ball, they know someone who is, they can then hire to be their coordinator.
Absolutely. I still say the worst hire for Saleh was still Keith Carter on the O-line.
I agree with you.
All right, Jake, keep it up. Stay cool. Stay hydrated.
You too, Jason. Appreciate you calling us internationally as often as you do. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason in Jerusalem.
You get the fuck out.
In AG, we trust. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge shout out to Jess. Jess emailed me. She was trying to figure out how to gift memberships. I guess you figured it out, Jess. Congratulations. She has gifted 5. That is 5 raffle entries for Jess.
We are mama way.
DYSL Studios, Skinny D23, Lawrence Hobson, Rat Diddy, Steven Arija, all receiving memberships there from Jess. We got a super chat from Eli, who's in the raffle for 2 with this. Whose stint was worse, Rodgers with the Jets or Russ with the Broncos? Hot take, I think it's Russ. I'll tell you why. While Russ had an 8-9 season. He wasn't a part of all that. He obviously got benched. Russ had that contract that was so detrimental to their cap. Now, obviously, Sean Payton is such a good coach. He figured it out with the largest dead caps in NFL history because they hit on Bo Nix and he coached them up, whatever. But however you feel about Bo Nix, he played well last year, and Sean Payton has a lot to do with it. But they figured it out. But they're still feeling the effects of that Russell Wilson contract. Rodgers didn't work out, but he took such a massive pay cut. The Jets' cap hits are manageable. Split it up over 2 years. Cap goes up 20%. I think Russ was worse, because Russ didn't have the injury Rodgers had. Rodgers got hurt on the 4th play as a Jet. Who knows what his tenure looks like here if he doesn't go down for the entire season, if he plays in 2023. Maybe they don't make the playoffs. But I can tell you that defense was so much better than the 2024 defense. Greg Zuerlein didn't miss in 2023. I think they make the playoffs with Rodgers healthy in 2023. And let's say they don't. They go 9-8 and miss the playoffs. I think Saleh would have been fired. Maybe Mike Vrabel would have been brought in. He would have been coaching the Jets. Maybe it would have been Bill Belichick brought in. As crazy as that sounds. Who knows how different things would have been if Rodgers doesn't get hurt in the 4th play, he plays, and they narrowly miss the playoffs in this hypothetical scenario. Then we might have had a real coach last year and could have salvaged the Aaron Rodgers era last season. That's what Pittsburgh's trying to do. Mike Tomlin doesn't have a losing year. Let's get a competent quarterback. Bring him in, stabilize things. He's better than Mason Rudolph or Will Howard and probably Russell Wilson, right? And we'll raise our ceiling a little bit. That's what they believe. I think Rodgers, with the right coach, they could have done that last year. But he went down the way he did in 2023, and that gave everyone a mulligan. Right? If the Jets were flawed in 2023 with Saleh, but Rodgers was playing, he would have been fired. And not to mention the contract for Russell Wilson, but also what they gave up to get him. The Jets ultimately gave up 2 second-round picks. That's it. Now, it would have been a first if he didn't get hurt, if he played the 65% of the snaps. But look what the compensation was that Denver traded to get Russell Wilson. And the contract. Crazy. And then when you think about it, the Jets, in hindsight, got the best player in the Aaron Rodgers deal. Will McDonald is the best player that was involved in the Aaron Rodgers deal. Now that we know what all the picks ended up being, I don't hear anyone talking about that. Will McDonald is the best player that was involved in the Aaron Rodgers trade. He's better than who Green Bay drafted with the Jets picks. But no one talks about that. Eli, good super chat. Good hypothetical there. Comments, questions, your super chats. Cut the line. Ladies and gentlemen, he had a massive breakfast this morning. Let's check in the global studio headquarters. Beast?
I'm waiting for my signal because I'm playing a little Price is Right bingo. Trying to win a few.
Beast, get to your battle station.
You just opened this battle station. I just heard the signal for the game calendar. I gotta take you to an arcade, Jake, one of these days. One of those arcade places. You might not have played. Might not have been around when I was little to play those arcades like Defender, Missile Command, Asteroids. I gotta get you into that good stuff, kid. You ain't seen nothing yet. And as a matter of fact, you guys can wait your turn like everybody
Peter
else.
Castro wants to know, Beast, did you eat the bag of dicks? Were they good?
Hey, Castro, 2 things, 2 out of 3. Here's one for you. In the words of my good friend Greg Travis, nothing's up my sleeve. It's a bird. It's magic. What in the hell is this?
Have some candy.
Beast, you know it's a joke, right?
Beast, I'll eat it with you.
Throw the bag of dicks out the window.
Throw the bag of dicks.
Get back to work. Come on. Free those dicks. Let them fly.
Oh, my God.
Sacagawea.
You let that dick fly. You feel better?
Ooh.
Is that the first time your hand was on a bunch of dicks?
Oh, no. I'm going to go have a sausage sandwich and enjoy the rest of my day.
Hey, how was the sausage sandwich, Beast?
Oh, a lot of cheese.
Put the light on, by the way. Why is it so dark in the attic?
Hey, it's going to be 87 today. I'm not going to have the I'm not gonna have a heat dome like the last few days. Like you guys are right now. You guys are in the heat dome right now. And we're feeling the after effects of the heat dome. See, it's not even over yet. You gotta wait.
Put the light on. Put the ring light on.
I'll make it
There it
lower
is.
for everybody. There we go. White is white. And remember, candy is dandy, but liquor is thicker. And I want the media to leave Aaron Glenn alone already. Aaron Glenn is his own boss. Same thing. He's like Parcells. He's not gonna take the BS from everybody. And so that means, hey, I ain't gonna cut my hair. I'm too much of a legend for that. You know why? Real people in Japan have this kind of look. Why? They got class. They got style. Today's haircuts are out of date, just like expired bread, expired milk, and old cheese that turned mildew. And you know where that goes? In the trash.
Hey, B, spin around. Let's see the real people of Japan haircut that you have. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Look at that bad boy.
You all wish you had that. Unfortunately, no. Until you can get it, here's your tickets. Get in line. Take a ticket and get in line like everybody else. Now I'm gonna tell it right here. First 3 games, preseason, my grill's gonna be open. I'm opening the first game, and then I'm gonna close for a couple of weeks and then reopen when the first game starts. And for the Pittsburgh game, we're gonna be cooking some mad steak tacos first game. And the second game, we're going to be doing barbecue. All barbecue. Nothing but barbecue action. Either barbecue chicken, barbecue ribs, barbecue burgers, and we might even throw in a beef brisket. Oh, yeah. Now, Jake, knowing you're from Texas. You like your briskets, don't you?
Well, I'm not from Texas, but I did live there for 6 years.
Okay. We got that cleared up as a clarification. Now,
we got that cleared up as a clarification.
Yes. So you've had beef brisket before, haven't you?
I have.
Very good. So I'm gonna have to mail you some brisket sandwiches next. But I'm gonna have to give you the recipes for that.
All right, send it to 1 East 161st Street, Bronx, New York.
This time I'll have Aaron Boone's name on it, and I'll make sure to have it saying please send this to Jake ASAP on the button. Thank you very much. And remember, if it's not in good hands with Allstate, remember these words: like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Rejected. Sorry.
B somehow combined Allstate and State Farm in one ad read. Neither of which are sponsors on this show, by the way. But if anyone does work for State Farm or Allstate and you'd like me to endorse your insurance company, I'd be happy to. We are looking for new sponsors. Football season's approaching. My marketing people need to pick up the intensity, baby. You got to do things myself around here. So you can email me if you have a product or a company and you're interested in rates, advertising on the show. Football season, it's going to be massive. Can't wait. And we got Circa coming on board with us in July and August. So get ready for info on Circa's Pro Football Contest. We'll be doing our show out from their contest weekend in August, as we've done the last couple of years. Kyle Clifton with a super chat. He is in the raffle for 2. I don't think Zane or Leo would have had any interest in Winslet, to be honest. I am anti-Winslet, especially since I found out she's a door hog. Look, I don't want to accuse you of anything, Mr. Clifton, but it kind of sounds like to me you're an anti-redhead. Sounds to me like you got some sort of issue with my people, red-haired people, all right? Kind of sounds to me like you're a little prejudiced against folks with red hair. Now, is she a door hog? Yes. Is she a murderer? Yes. But are we going to try and dispute whether or not Rose is attractive? That can't be done. We got to be fair on this show. Sounds like you have something against people with red hair. Just saying. Now, is she a murderer? Absolutely. Stand by everything I've said. And door hog. That is fair. I prefer murderer. If you want to go door hog, that works as well. If you're tuning in late, this week on the show, we're giving away a signed Aaron Glenn jersey, signed Justin Fields jersey, and a signed Sauce Gardner jersey. Raffle will most likely be on Monday. We did our raffle 29 on Monday. It's already Wednesday. I can't believe it. We're back at it again Monday with the weekly prizes and a daily raffle. End of the second show today. First of its kind, a daily raffle that combines both shows to enter a chance to win a signed 16 by 20 New York Sack Exchange photo signed by Joe Klecko and Marty Lyons. And I have it right here. Thing is huge. It's awesome. When I ordered it, I didn't realize how big it was. And I'm like, oh, that's why it's expensive, or more expensive than I thought. Anyway, let's get to more of your calls, shall we? Live to the nudist colony we go.
Well, there's a feller they call Charleston Jets Rube, 'cause he calls the show nude, never wears a shirt. And some folks, they don't think he's got pants on either. It's a gosh darn nudist camp. Let's hear it for that Charleston Jets Rube and see if he has any Jets points today.
Hey, Jake, thanks again for taking my call. Great giveaway. I want to say also, I thought that was a great call by Dominic. And, with Jason in Jerusalem, we're just glad that ceasefire went through, and hopefully Iran keeps up their end of the bargain. Nice to see that hopefully Jason will be safe out there. And, V-Man, wow, he never ceases to amaze me, man. Who knew? He's our resident Titanic expert.
Look, if I have a question on history, V-Man's the go-to.
I tell you what, V-Man probably knows our history better than most people that live here. So kudos to him. Or I mean that, are from here for generations type of thing. But yeah, I love the fact with Aaron Glenn that all these coaches are coming up and backing him up. Dan Campbell talking about how there were many times that he would let kind of Aaron Glenn do things as if he was the head coach. And, just the fact that he's kind of, Parcells told him to start as a scout, and he did. He kind of knows every level of the team building from ground up. Obviously, we don't know until we see it, but with the pedigree that he has and all the people that are talking him up, I just feel like that. I feel like we got ourselves a good one.
I'm encouraged by Glenn so far, but at the end of the day, don't let the press conferences or the nostalgia of the fact that he was an outstanding player with the organization, influence your thinking that it means he's going to be this great coach. We still don't know. We got to see it, but I do like what I've heard. And I think it's genuine when he talks about coaching the whole team, which I'm encouraged by, because we've heard coaches say that they don't do it. I think Glenn, we now have even more evidence based on that story that Haley told, that this guy's been putting in the work for a while to understand the whole aspect of the football team and not just dominate his side of the ball where he was a really good DC.
Yeah, and we know obviously Saleh didn't give two shits about offense before he came here, and it was proven. I mean, the fact that he couldn't, pull the ripcord on why is his name? But the offensive line coach, why he couldn't pull the ripcord on that thing like a long time ago for Heath Carter is unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, our last couple coaches, it can't get any worse. So I'm just very hopeful. I love the fact that he was an ex-Jet. I used to love him. And, the thing with Rose, man, the first time I saw that movie, I whispered to my wife in the movie theater, I was like, why the hell isn't she moving over so he can get on that damn thing?
Right.
And the thing that sucked, my first wife, my ex-wife, loved that movie. So the second it came out, she bought it. I must have seen that movie 100 times, man. If I see that movie one more time, it's one time too many.
Wow, that's a long movie too. Like
I'm telling you,
it's like
she played it on loop almost. Between that and freaking Survivor, that was all I watched for a number of years. It was painful. But anyways, Cannonball is incoming in about 20 to 30 minutes. And as always, love you, Jake.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Charleston Jets Rube checking in. Titanic is a long movie, 3 hours and 14 minutes, 194 minutes is the runtime. And when they air it on TV, right, if TNT or USA, whatever cable network has it, it's like 6 hours because of all the commercials. Like, it's literally an entire day of programming on that channel. It's an excellent movie, no doubt. Rose is a murderer, though, let's be clear. Eli says, I want to hear Gary's opinion about the Titanic. It's funny you bring up Gary. This was just sent to me by Cincy Matt. Nothing like a Gary meme on our first show of the day. Love him or hate him, Gary's influence is being felt in this community. There is no doubt about that. Send me your Asmaniac related memes, and if they're funny, we'll put them on the show. AsmanJake at Gmail is where you can email me. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Appreciate all of you. Jeff Parles will be on with us this afternoon. You guys have been asking for Jeff. He changed jobs, so his schedule was all out of whack, but we finally found a time that works. So the great Jeff Parles live from Vegas will join us in the afternoon. If you're a new viewer, you maybe haven't even heard Jeff on the show. He's been on with us the last couple of years. One of my good friends in the business. So I'm excited to get Jeff back on this afternoon. We'll take more raffle entries then, of course, for the signed sack exchange photo and all that good stuff. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, it is Mikey time.
Hello, I'm Mikey. I'm Bobby's little bro. Have you seen Jake Graves? She's so beautiful. I love my boy Jake, but not in a gay way. I am so happy. I'm not gonna touch anything, I promise.
Hey, Jake, you hear me?
Oh, can I hear you, baby? Hell yeah, Mikey.
Hey, Jake, I have a plan. I have a friend at Price Chopper. She likes the Yankees. Her father likes the Knicks. Her father knew me for a long time, but her boyfriend's a Red Sox fan. If she could get tickets.
Uh-oh. We lost you mid-call, Mikey. I can't hear you now. Mikey. Hold on. Let me bring on my tech guy. Mikey. Mikey.
Mikey, can't we hear you?
Mikey.
Mute.
Uh,
Jake, we lost signal.
We're losing signal, Beast. Hold on. I'm losing signal.
Mikey! Ah, shoot. We lost. Mikey, can't we hear you? Mikey, use your. Are you
Hear me?
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Don't touch a thing.
You hear me?
Yes. Don't touch anything.
I know.
Touch anything. Don't touch a thing. As you were saying.
My friend at the Price Shop, Julianne and our father are Yankee fans. And our boyfriend wants to go to Red Sox and Yankee Stadium soon, like in September or something. You hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Guys,
so Mikey, are you a Knicks fan as well?
Knicks and the lady at the Price.
Whoa! Hey, we can't hear you. I can't hear you, Mikey. Ah, shoot, Mikey, reload. Check your audio, your video, your tech. What's wrong with it? We can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Hello, I'm Mikey. I'm Bobby's little bro. Have you seen Jake Graves? She's so beautiful. I love my boy Jake, but not in a gay way. I am so happy. I'm not gonna touch anything, I promise.
Ah, we lost Mikey. Beast, good effort on the tech. Mikey, try and call back. We'll get you on. Had some tech issues there. Ladies and gentlemen, a follow-up super chat from Mr. Kyle Clifton, who once again finds himself in the raffle for 2 more with the super chat. Thank you, Kyle. I had 2 girlfriends with red hair. I don't even think of Winslet as a redhead. I just don't find her hot like Isa Fisher, Karen Gillan, or Amy Adams. In fact, I briefly dated an Adams lookalike. I don't actually know who Karen Gillan is off the top of my head. Let me Google her. Okay. I don't know if I've seen her before. I'm a fan though. And then who? You didn't even say you're missing a couple key redheads here though, Mr. Clifton. And that's good to know that you're not an anti-redheadsman. All right, that you support redheads. But you're missing a couple key redheads here. Christina Hendricks of Mad Men fame has to be on this list. And Sarah Paulson, who plays Donna on Suits, has to be on this list of the hottest redheads. I think it's Sarah Paul. Who plays Donna on Suits? I think I'm right. I think it is Sarah Paul. I'm watching Suits right now. Sarah Raftery, actually. She plays Donna Paulson. I got the names confused. I have one season left of Suits. And after season 7, that show goes, so I'm just struggling to get through it right now. Oh, Karen Gillan is from Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. She was Doctor Who in Guardians of the Galaxy. Isa Fisher and Wedding Crashers. Phenomenal. And then who was the other redhead he mentioned? Amy Adams. I mean, Amy Adams. One of the greats as well. Scarlett Johansson, when she has red hair as Black Widow. We'll put her on the list as well. Why not? I think we've covered all the hot redheads I can think of. If we're missing anyone, let us know in the chat. On that note, how about a super chat from Cincy Matt, who just sent me that funny meme we showed on the program. He's in the raffle for 2. My Asmaniac Mount Rushmore, Beast, Gorman, Bobby, and Gary. I play the show while I'm working, and when these guys call in, I immediately stop what I'm doing and watch. All right, Cincy Matt, stop what you're doing. Beast is on the line.
Oh, okay.
You got to fix the internet up, man. We want to hear what you got to say, you know?
Well, don't worry. I got something to fix it. The very first part of the day.
Holy shit.
I get it. That's a good list, Cincy Matt. Mount Rushmore of Asmaniacs. It's tough. I mean, I defer to Asmaniac Madness, where we had our final 4. The people voted. Now, look, it's matchups in Asmaniac Madness. Things change, but I stand by what we did back in March. The committee seating everyone. The community voting. And Mr. Bonesy being our inaugural champion. Oh, Kyle Clifton with another good redhead. Ellie Kepner. She plays, what's her name on The Office? I forget the character's name, but I know she's the actress. Brandon says, Knicks making any moves tonight for the draft? Probably not. They don't have a first. They have a second-round pick, but who cares? They got to get a coach first, right? I mean, there's no rush. They're the only team with an opening, but it'd be nice to have a head coach. You know? Bino with a $5 super chat. Jacob, that door had leg room of a 1978 Lincoln. Rose let Jack freeze like an icy pop in the North Atlantic. Hashtag justice for Jack. I agree. Rose Dawson, murderer. And just bad person throwing that $1 million, whatever it's worth, chain into the ocean. Are you kidding me? That's disgraceful. All right, let's get 2 more of your calls right now. Appreciate everyone being a part of our show. If you are trying to figure out if you should come to Tampa or not, the answer is yes. And if you go on the Patreon, all the info is there for you to be able to lock in your tickets, hotel discounts, and info about the tailgate. You can actually buy your ticket right now. Scan that QR code top right. And then our free Saturday happy hour from 5 until closing time at Gas Bars, Patio, Bar, and Grill. And if you're interested in our group buy, Jets-Panthers, I want to remind people that the Jets were nice enough to give us more time and potentially have more people. If you paid for your ticket, you're one of the first 75. You'll get a field pass. But if you still want to join me, the rest of the Asmaniacs, Nick Shine and the Shiners, and sit in section 129 for Jets Panthers on October 19th. Click the link in my description, and you could still lock in your spot. So check that out. And I want to give a shout out to Frank and Anthony Fratello, who bought tickets this morning for our group outing for Jets Panthers. Okay. More of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get up close and let's get personal. It's time.
I got my energy. I hope you like my Jets take. You know they call me David T. It's not easy for me to see, but if you bring me full stream, you might like what I had to say. I'll need to get real damn close, cause my vision is dog shit. Hey, Jake.
Hello, David.
Hey, I'm a big YouTuber. Obviously, I like YouTube shorts and everything, but my latest, the red haired girl, Karen Gillan. I know you mentioned her. Boy, anytime I can get on YouTube and she's like on like talk shows or whatever, but the full package, she's so pretty. Her personality is terrific. She's really funny, and the accent is off the charts. I love the accent,
I love it too.
Yeah.
I like your accent, David T.
You do?
In a non-sexual way.
I guess I don't know how I don't know if it's a Pennsylvania northern accent or whatever. I don't know how you put a tag on my accent. But anyway,
are you sick, David? You sound like a little congested.
I got the sniffles a little bit. It's hot down here in Florida, like up north, but I'm in air conditioning a lot. So, hey, I feel sorry for myself. You know what I mean? I gather a little bit of sniffles. I work in air conditioning and all, so I'm suffering, Jake.
Well, hang in there, David. At least you look good with the bucket hat on.
Thank you. Hey, I just want to touch on because the 2-3 days on the Jets Mount Rushmore thing, just terrific shows and the people calling in and really focused and everything. And I really, really most enjoyed it. And my final conclusion, and I thought, oh, you know what? I have of course, a couple of Joe Namath shirts, and I have a Curtis Martin shirt in the closet, and I have a Klecko shirt, but I don't have a Don Maynard shirt, which I thought he should have been on the list. But anyway, I enjoyed those shows. I enjoyed the people calling in and stating their opinion.
It was a good couple of days of debate, David T. There's no doubt. We got to get you a Don Maynard jersey, though.
He was, like I said, my dad, with the Jets, he loved Namath and Maynard, and Namath, Maynard, Matt Snell. Me, Namath, Maynard. My favorite running back though was Emerson Boozer, and I actually compare him to Curtis Martin a little bit. He was so graceful, but a powerful, graceful running back. And I mean, once it put the ball in his hand, it was a pleasure to watch him run.
I'm with you. He's probably under-discussed in Jets history if you think about it. Him and Matt Snell and their impact on those teams and them winning the Super Bowl, of course.
I think so. I guess the Namath and Maynard are in the forefront, but yeah, then I'd like to give a shout out to Matt Snell and Emerson Boozer, really terrific players.
Ladies and gentlemen, David T.
I got my eye on you. Checkmate me full screen. It's fireball whiskey time. David motherfucking T.
Hey, you hear me? You hear
Yeah,
me?
there you go. Okay, you're good. You're good. Don't touch a thing. Don't touch anything. Don't touch anything.
I promise.
Okay,
Beast, I love
okay.
you. You're my homeboy.
I understand that. So, hey, are you ready? Are you ready to see your brother get that job today at the 99 place?
Yeah, I'll go driving there. Yeah. I'll go driving there.
All right, okay, I understand that. Hey, if I were you, I'd put a hat on and take 2 or 3 bottled waters with you because it's gonna be hotter than a sauna at the YMCA.
Yeah, I got Gatorade. Too. Gatorade.
What color Gatorades do you got?
I got great. It's like a great Gatorade, but it's a power drink.
Grape Gatorade. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've had that one before. It was kind of okay. I'm not the Gatorade kind of guy, but that one was actually really good. But if you want a really good one, try the icy blue one. That's actually really good.
Yeah, I did that too. I did that today.
Well, if I were you, I'd throw that in the freezer for about 2 or 3 hours, and then after that third hour, get it out, bring it with you, and you're gonna be going, yeah, man. Now this is some action.
Yeah,
but I'll tell you what, I hope he gets that. I hope he gets that job at 99 today, because I'm pulling for him to get it, my man. I'm just pulling for him to get it.
I do. Everybody knows us at the 99. Everybody knows us at the 99.
What that was, folks, is what's called manifesting greatness. We showed the photo, then we made it happen. The power of positivity, people. If you take anything from today's show, it's that Rose from Titanic's a murderer and the power of positivity. Also, Beast, why didn't you tell me that you used to be a student at Hogwarts? This was just sent to me by one astute listener. I had no clue. Why didn't you tell me, Beast?
In the words of the great Gorilla Monsoon, get the hell out of here with that. Get out of here.
Give me a little Aspecto Patrono.
Do you think I look like I watch Harry Potter? Are you out of your league, ese vato? Dude, I don't.
You never seen Harry Potter?
Hell no. I'm a Star Wars guy. I'm a Star
Really?
Wars guy, an Indiana Jones and a Terminator guy. You should know that by now. It's not rocket science. Come on. How many times have I got dropped on my head? Hundreds of times. And I'm still walking at least. So be thankful I'm still breathing air. Just remember that. Now, let's go to another caller.
Give me a little Wingardium Leviosa.
How about a little Yokozuna of Banzai? That is what you call Yokozuna. Next time I'll do Mr. Fuji.
All right, more of your calls right now. Ghostbuster Hotline is open. Getting back to the conversation about hot redheads that this chat has stumbled upon. Bo wrote in Emma Stone. I think she might actually be a blonde, but if she has the red hair, we'll count it. By the way, Ellie Kepner, who we know was in The Office, I couldn't think of the character she played. She played Erin. Will asked about Kristen Dunst from Spider-Man. Yeah, Mary Jane. I don't know if she's a natural redhead, though. She might not be, but she played a redhead in a movie. We'll count it. Eli says no love for Lindsay Lohan. Prime Lindsay Lohan is in the conversation, without a doubt. Just Google Prime Lindsay Lohan. You're welcome, everyone. 100%. We've covered a lot of ground today. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get a cannonball. You ready? I am.
Well, there's a feller they call Charleston Jets rude, 'cause he calls the show nude, never wears a shirt. And some folks, they don't think he's got pants on either. It's a gosh darn nudist camp. Let's hear it for that Charleston Jets Rube and see if he has any Jets points today.
Hopefully he's clothed. Okay, he is. Thank God.
Can opener time.
Can opener. Chat, rate the splash. Rate the jump.
Did we get it?
We got it. Your internet was a little choppy, but we got it. How do you think that went from your perspective?
I felt like it went good. That was the shallow end, only 3.5 feet. My back hit the bottom.
That's dangerous. That's the shallow end you're doing that?
It's all right. Right, there are people in the deep end, so it's fine.
I see.
It just grazed.
Well, I'll tell you what.
How was the splash? Was it okay?
I thought you had a good splash. I'm going to put you in the raffle for 5 because I appreciate the effort.
No problem, man. I appreciate it, bud.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up in the chat.
Thank you.
For Charleston Jets Roof.
You get the fuck out.
Gosh, do I wish I could jump in that pool right now. I got 3 fans on it in front of me right now. That's why you can see the background moving a little bit. And it's so hot, and air conditioning in New York City is so bad that I'm not using the LED light on this first show because it's just too hot. And these lights carry a lot of heat. AD suggests Jessica Rabbit. We're going to try and keep it to actual people for this conversation, but I do understand the point. Kyle Clifton back in the raffle for 2. Beast was expelled from Hogwarts for coordinating with Voldemort. Really? Beast, you and Voldemort had a relationship?
Are you Kyle Clifton? I don't read that pity bullshit. That's trash. That's not my type. My type is Terminator, Indiana Jones, and also one of my favorites, Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars nerd. I got the toys. I got the video games. I got the damn proof. What the hell else do you want from me? Now move along, ese vato. Let's get this rolling before I lose my mind. And no, I don't eat dicks and sausage, Mr. Casho. Next time you will meet Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji. So you remember, you're in trouble, boy-san. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Don't think Mr. Yokozuna will have it ready for you. Bonsai! Ha!
Thank you, Beast. Don't know what you just said there. Sounds like you're a big Harry Potter guy, though, if I'm understanding. Dixon says, Jake, why do you pay all this money for a New York City apartment with no air? It has air, and other than this heat wave, it's really not a big problem, but it just gets too hot, which is brutal. Thankfully, this is like the last day where it's this hot. Because I don't have central air. I have like a window unit, right? That's the difference. Houston, forget it. You wouldn't be able to do it. What we had in New York the last couple of days is what it's like every day from June on in Houston. So I've been in this weather a lot. You never get used to it, but you just have good AC. Yo Home says prime Julia Roberts. Yeah, Julia Roberts definitely on the list. 100% agree with that. What else we got here? Hit the like button if you haven't. It's been quite the show. Really a who's who of callers, super chats. We have an awesome raffle prize that we're giving out today. Signed Klecko and Marty Lyons, 16 by 20 sack exchange photo. It is big. It is awesome. It has the authentication on it. So we will send that to someone tomorrow because we'll do that raffle at the end of our second show today. So daily raffle combining the 2 shows for a bigger prize. And if you don't win, you still got a chance to win a signed Sauce Gardner jersey, Justin Fields jersey, and Aaron Glenn jersey. So we keep the raffles going here during these slower times in the offseason. Let's take our second call from Israel today. Jay in Israel is up next. Hello, Jay.
Jake, how are you?
What's up, Jay?
Well, first of all, last night was the first night I was able to sleep through the night without being woken up by air raid sirens. So we're gonna hope that that chapter is over and stays that way. May have called into the wrong part of the show, but I will start with my nomination for redhead, Lauren Ambrose.
Lauren Ambrose. Do I know? Let's see.
If you ever watch the show 6 Feet Under,
I have not seen the show. But...
She is the unbelievably adorable, gorgeous redhead daughter.
All right. I'll take your word for it.
Another quick point about the Jets, if I may, at this end of the show. I am Joe Beningo's age. I saw every minute, every snap of the 1968 championship Jets team. And a lot of callers have called in and said, well, I never saw Don Maynard play, but I saw Don Maynard play. And I'm telling you, from the entire history of the Jets, there's no conversation that Don Maynard absolutely belongs on whatever we're calling it, the post foreheads. If not for Don Maynard, and if you go back and listen to some of Don Maynard's interviews, he kind of corroborates this. If not for Don Maynard, Joe Namath might not have turned into the Joe Namath that we know. And another player I want to shout out, David T. Jumped in front of me and talked about Boozer and Snell, who really were a terrific 1-2 punch in terms of running backs. But George Sauer Jr. on the other side made everybody respect the fact that they couldn't always double team Don Maynard, and George Sauer allowed Maynard to put up the stats that he did.
He had a big Super Bowl III, too, by the way. He was the Jets' leading receiver in that game, I believe.
He was, and the reason for that was after Joe Namath watching the tape and getting all excited about how, hey, we can win this game, a young coach, Don Shula, who was coaching against the Jets for Baltimore, basically decided that he was going to double team Don Maynard the whole way, apparently after watching the film from the AFL championship game, and that opened up the running game a little bit. That opened up George Sauer Jr. And Don Maynard was hurt, but they didn't have injury reports like they have today, so nobody knew it. And basically, Don Maynard was taken out of the game, and Joe Namath said, fine, we have other weapons to beat you. So anyway, I just want to reassure everybody that I've seen Don Maynard play. You can ask Joe Beningo, who shares my age with me. He was amazing. One quick point I want to ask you about, Jake, as you were leaving Houston, just at the time when Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans were taking a dumpster fire much, much deeper than the Jets dumpster fire as we see it, and turning it around. I know it's early. I know we haven't seen anything yet, but how do you feel about what you're seeing and feeling about Muji and Glenn in terms of comparing them to Caserio and Ryans and the ability to turn this thing around fairly quickly?
The similarities is that D'Amico is the face of the organization. He's the spokesperson. He has more personnel control than Caserio does. And that's clearly the case here with the Jets with Glenn. So it can work. The biggest difference is, though, like those guys had the second pick in the draft. They took a quarterback. They hit on that quarterback right away. For the Jets to turn it around, there's a lot more like coaching that has to go into it because we're talking about Justin Fields, who's not, this guy coming out who's going to have a CJ Stroud rookie year. I mean, we don't know what we're going to get from him. So that's the biggest difference. But it was a way worse situation they inherited, and they got it back on track. And I think the similarities is that they're both now head coach driven organizations where the GM is in a secondary role that defers to what the coach wants.
Well, I'm hoping that the scenario of Namath, who always had Don Maynard to be there and coordinate with, that Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson, who have history and have positive history in a relationship, maybe. Obviously, we'll never see a Namath Maynard situation, at least in my lifetime. But maybe this could be the key to unlocking Justin Fields, who I've been skeptical about. And when you were smelling the 4, I was smelling the 4. But I'm starting to feel a little better about the prospects if and only if everybody stays healthy. Without being healthy, all bets are off.
Absolutely. Jay, great call. Glad to hear that things are a little safer, it appears, where you are. And I got some good news for you. Gusbuster Umbrellas is assisting me with a little international shipping because it ends up being way cheaper. So your Jermaine Johnson jersey will be sent to your daughter in London, as we discussed this upcoming week. So a little update on your signed Jermaine jersey you want in a raffle. Let's see. Oh, someone said Kate Mara. Spot on. Kate Mara in Entourage. People forget season 6. She plays E's assistant. Tremendous role. Kate Mara in House of Cards, right, with Kevin Spacey. Tremendous. Kate Mara in Bad Teacher. That was like a one-season Hulu show. Yeah, Kate Mara's in the conversation. And she's a football fan, as we know. Gator says Julianne Moore in Boogie Nights, Jessica Chastain in Zero Dark 30, Kate Mara, House of Cards. Yep. Strong. Was Hermione a redhead in Harry Potter? I'm trying to think. I think she was. Do we count her? Or was she not? I don't remember. Big Country with a super chat. Is Hagrid Beast's dad? Kind of looks alike. Beast, is your father Hagrid from Harry Potter?
Hell to the no.
Okay.
My father left me when I was a baby. So take that garbagey IQ and throw it right back in the garbage because that's where it's gonna go. Because don't think I got the garbage bin waiting. No, they know what to do. It's called, okay, boys, you know what to do. Take out the trash. Now move along and no more of this Harry Potter crap. Before I'm gonna put on some Star Wars right now and do some.
What do you think of this? Darth Beastius and Darth Joey.
Hey, Star Wars is Star Wars. I will always be a Star Wars guy. And you know what Star Wars I prefer? The very first one. The second one was okay, not bad, but sure Vader won it. But the third one was actually very good. They had a little more TIE Interceptor, more TIE Fighter, and I did like the Emperor with his strike me down with all your hatred, and your journey toward the dark side will be complete. The Emperor at least was brutal, at least. Especially his best part, fire at will, Commander! And especially the music on there actually made it look really good. And then the fire part when the guy said, fire! And then all that green firepower coming from the Death Star. That looked beautiful. Sure, the Death Star looked like shit, but you know what? It actually made it look good. That firepower, that 1, 2, 3, right into the guy, one of the things that Lando standing there going, that blast came from the Death Star.
Have you ever used the Force, Beast?
What?
Have you ever used the Force?
In Obi-Wan Kenobi term, never, ever doubt your opponent about using the Force. And no, I didn't. Jar Jar was okay. I'm not a Jar Jar person. He was. Oh, I'll give you a hit. The first.
How do you feel about Beast the Hutt? Daz wants to know.
Hey, Jabba the Hutt was at least funny, but some of his takes were not too bad. But I'm right now gonna get ready because you're about to do another the spin of the wheel. And then
do you have class today at Hogwarts?
I don't play that shit. You want me to sound like James Hetfield from some kind of monster going, hey, I already told you this already. You're gonna keep on nagging me and kicking me in the nuts like this? Jesus, you wonder.
LaGuardia and Leviosa.
I feel bad for myself, I feel bad for how James was when he went through all that crap. When he went behind the door and slammed it, that's when he said he didn't need
Potter.
Shit. And the hell with this shit. This ain't even worth the effort.
You're a wizard, Beast.
I'm not a wizard. I'm a savage. Also known as
wizard, Beast.
I'm a savage. You know what savage is? I'm a savage. But in Latin, they say it as Zamatos. That's the Latin term for savage.
Beast
Potter. I am a savage. I've always been a savage. I'll always be a savage. And you can take it to the bank. Now I'm gonna do a little study proof and get ready for good things.
What are you getting ready for?
I'm gonna practice about some Star Wars.
You gonna practice Star Wars? You have a lightsaber handy?
Not that kind of Star Wars. The video game Star Wars. I got all 3.
Is that on the agenda? So what are you doing for work today? Just playing video games?
Number 1, did I have anything lined up? No.
I don't know. It's Wednesday at 10:52 your time. What's on the agenda?
Hey, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Hey, just gotta take it one day at a time. Remember, we men put our pants on one leg at a time.
I put them both on at the same time.
No.
Like I just dive into it.
Hey. Let me give you
No,
a
no,
quote.
like, I literally just go.
Bill Cosby once said these words. Hey, the beer doesn't go here; it goes down in one leg, and then when that leg fills up, you got to take it to the John. You see?
Now, Beast.
I love it.
People hear what you're saying, right? And that's why they think you're on Mount Unemployment. But tell the people that you are employed.
I've done my job for a long goddamn time. I'm not gonna say this again. I've already explained it loud, clear, and already on point and on focus. Go check the DVD out. Go read the proof. It's right in front of your damn eyes. If you can't read, then you know what? I don't know what to tell you, but it's you're either missing the boat or you're just shoveling shit up without a paddle. Do something about it. If you know what? If in the words of the great Rick Stars, he once said, "If you don't like me, bite me."
Peter Castro says, "What's your job?" He's not clear what your job is.
You would last 5 minutes in the mosh pit with me because let me just tell you this, buddy. Between Hatebreed, Vader, Venom, 6 Feet Under, and Slayer, I would destroy you within 5 minutes. You'd be an annihilation for the apocalypse. Because let me just say, I'm 10 times scarier than what you can't do, pal. So you couldn't lace my boots, carry my bags, touch my jock, or even cook a real man's breakfast. Because when it comes to 4th and 15, you punt. On 4th and 15, I blast. I put myself in ultra blast. You know why? If you want to win games, get off your ass and do it.
Now, what job does that mean you have? I don't think Peter understands.
There's plenty of them. All you got to do is pay attention, watch, learn, listen. Like my grandfather once said, sit down, shut up, pay attention. You might learn something.
Amen, Beast.
What in the hell is this?
Have some candy.
Beast, you know it's a joke, right?
Beast, I'll eat it with you.
Throw the bag of dicks out the window.
Throw the bag of dicks.
Get back to work. Come on. Free those dicks. Let them fly.
Oh, my God.
Sacagawea.
You let that dick fly. You feel better?
Ooh.
Is that the first time your hand was on a bunch of dicks?
Oh, no. I'm going to go have a sausage sandwich and enjoy the rest of my day.
You're a wizard, Beast. All right, what a show. What a show. Callers brought it today. Super chats and memberships were flying off the shelves. Thanks to everyone who donated. Flight Right with a super chat here. And Asmaniac one is free super chat you get when you're a channel member every month. Karen Gillen from Jumanji. I'll have to look into that. What a program. A lot was covered. Jeff Parles is back at 4 p.m. Eastern time today on the show. Please hit the like button before you get out of here. Join the Patreon. If you're a regular caller who's not on Patreon, you're missing out. You're a part of this community. We need you in the Discord. And all the info is now pinned on the dashboard for Tampa, the road trip to Tampa, the group buy for Carolina, the discount in the merch store, jakeasman.com. Get a bucket hat for summer. And anything you need to know. It's all in one spot. It's right on the dashboard of the Patreon. I updated it this morning to put everything on one spot because a bunch of you were reaching out. So trying to streamline the process. Just get in the Discord too. It's all there for you under the announcement tabs as well. On that note, thank you to everyone who watched. We could not have done it without you. This show is only a show because of the people who tune in and call in and engage in the chat. So I'm truly, truly appreciative of all that. I will talk to you guys this afternoon when the great Jeff Parles joins us. I'm looking forward to that. Until then, I end the show with a message. And that message is this. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. More of your calls right now. Well, the Buffalo Jet fans on the line.
Hey, Jake. Hey, guy that weird has the same background I got. I wanted to show you a little bit about my studio. I never get to show you my studio. My microphone, for example, you know, with the pretty colors. It's not the only thing it does. Here, watch when I hit this button. It's got the nice Jets logos that come up through it. And then I press this button. And you got the dancing girls, right? Yeah, that's good. And then my chalkboard, of course.
I never reference it ever. It's always here. It's got my initials on it. And this is a play that I used to run with my friends back in high school. But really, it's also my escape portal. I can show you. Watch.
You don't have to come and confess that you did it. We're looking for you. We gonna find you. I'm letting you know now. Obviously, we have a rapist. He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people up, trying to rape them. So y'all need to hide your kids.
No, he's back. I'm sorry. I gotta go.
Undefeated, man. I can't believe you didn't get to my Joe Rogan looking monkey painting over here.
Oh my god! I don't know how he does that either. Like, I've been using StreamYard for 3 years doing the show. I have no idea how to do any of that stuff. He just did.
And he's one of one.
I see Lane Kerner goes, I have questions for you, Buffalo fake fan. Gator says, could someone ask Buffalo Jet fan next week why he has a chalkboard that he never uses? Bonesy writes in, I'm still laughing at Gator hitting the switch with the girls dancing, then acknowledging the chalkboard. That was so good.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now is none other than Chiefs fan. Hello, Chiefs fan.
Yo, last night I was outside talking and I walked over and checked on my neighbor and I found out my neighbor passed away in his lawn chair. So
this call was not going where I thought it was going. Chiefs
well,
fan. I'm not gonna lie to you.
the old man had bladder problems. Let's just say that he was 90s. He didn't take his medication, and he was gonna smoke a cigar with me, but he wasn't there.
Is it a real story?
This is a real story.
And he passed away on his lawn chair in the middle of the Super Bowl.
Walked inside of his house, checked on his dog, poured a shot of vodka, and I'm like, this isn't gonna be enough. Chugged about 1/4 of the vodka that we usually drink. I'm like, the old man had to die during the big game, but yeah, I was happy we won.
Yeah, hey, Chiefs fan, congrats on the Super Bowl win, man. I don't know what to say. I figured this was going to be a celebratory call for the great Chiefs fan, and it was not that.